Actually, I want to say thank you for something really interesting that I saw. For example, like Marcella, I saw the flashcards that you have made. Amazing, very, very good work. And also Anna, I haven't seen your homework yet, but I'm gonna check it out that. And thanks for, thanks always for the very good work that you both are doing. Okay, Anna and Marcella, like you have been studying really hard, amazingly. Okay, and that makes me really happy. Like I think this is one of the things that keep on our excitement, like our happiness while you're teaching, is to see that the students are doing their best and they are really, learning. Yeah, that I think that's the most important part. So we're gonna move on today's topic. Yeah, last week we have. As we have always been doing, right? We're checking out the first World War history and some of the things that happened, yeah, in that time, at that time, actually. Okay, so and today's topic, the name of the topic is other diplomacy in the 1920s. Okay, so when we say that thing, other diplomacy, which means like some other facts, yeah, some other relations, among the countries that were involved in this topic and what happened by that, right? So just follow me and let's move on. Okay, so and as you can see now, I'm gonna share my screen with you. Okay, and let's go one. I'm gonna keep using purple. So let's go. We have the title here. Yeah, as we always do. Let me put here. This is the title. Other diplomacy in the 1920s, and then we begin in this first topic here. So countries also started making treaties between themselves in the 1920s, bypassing the league altogether. Wow, okay, bypassing the league altogether. So let's read that again just to have a better idea. Countries also started making treaties between themselves. Wow, so you get that point? When we say that they started making treaties between themselves, that countries that belonged to this League of Nations, like they were supposed to be friends, they started like threatening, as we say, saying to also another members of the league that, okay, so if you don't do something, so basically they started having problems in their relationship, like the countries that were supposedly friends there. Okay, so this is the thing, right? And then as you come back here, you're gonna see like bypassing the league altogether. Probably there were some countries that they were not respecting the league, right? So let's analyze them here, and then either they were learning to get on together peacefully, or maybe they just had no confidence in the league. Wow. So either they were learning to get together peacefully, did you do things together in a peaceful way, or maybe they just had no confidence in the league. Do you know this word, confidence? Yeah, this is a very good word. Yeah, if you have confidence, it's like adjective. Yeah, means that you believe in yourself. Yeah, you know by facts and maybe by the feeling that you have inside of you that you can do something. Yeah, you have confidence. I can do that. Okay, so this is the thing. So moving on, and then let's move on. So agreements were made in the 1920s. Number one, between 1921 and 1929, the political situation, again, the political situation seemed, yeah, this word is a good one, look at like seemed, but it's here, to be improving, to be getting better, as countries try to cooperate. Okay, so because there were some countries trying to cooperate, right, to work together, so people that would be seeing that, probably they thought, okay, I think things are getting better, right? But I mean, sometimes what we see, it's really not what the reality is, right? So, and then number two, there were many important agreements over arms reduction, borders, and economic aid. So just to give you a little glimpse, when we talk about economic aid, it means that, aid is like help, support. Economic aid is like economic support, like the financial thing, right? Is when you think about helping another country's problems or whatever, yeah, by giving money, by supporting financially talking. Okay, so and borders, borders is the, yeah, is the line that divides two different countries. And arms reduction, when we talk about arms, yeah, remember that, don't forget that, right? We when we talk about arms, we are talking about how can I say that, it's soldiers, yeah, like group of soldiers. So this is what we're talking about. Okay, so that is the meaning of arms. Okay, so I hope you have understood that. Okay, so moving on, and so let's go down here. Yeah, we have these topics here, which is Washington Conference in 1921, Geneva Protocol 1924, Dawes Plan 1924, and Young Plan 1929. Okay, so as we can see here, yeah, we have these four topics here. And one thing that I'm gonna do right now, yeah, just just to make sure, yeah, I'm gonna see what is the pronunciation of this Geneva, this city, right? Geneva. Let me see that in English. Just listen to me, guys. Let me see here. Geneva. 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 Sorry, I just correcting the pronunciation, right? So this one here, Geneva Protocol. Very good. So I'm gonna read one by one. I'm gonna begin by the green one. Read that and explain what is that. So Washington Conference 1921. USA, Britain, Japan, and France reduced size of navies. Do you know what is navy? So if you don't know what is that, check it out. Okay, this is one homework. Homework. What is this? What does this vocabulary mean? What is navy? I'm gonna give you a hint. Okay, and when we talk about the navy, we are talking about like the army, the force, right? Okay, and normally navy, for example, if you think about defense, yeah, what tools, yeah, what can a country use to defend itself? You normally he use its army, or like military power, right? So that's what we're talking about. Navy is one part of this military power, okay, which normally goes about like the in the water, yeah, is the military part that works in the water, on the oceans. Okay, so check it out. What means navy? What is the meaning of that? And then you give me that on the next lesson. Okay, so moving on. And what is the description for that? So the green one, yeah, again, US Britain. Okay, we just read that description here. So now I'm gonna read this thing here. And by the way, yeah, we have the colors, the meanings. I mean, the green, yeah. When I read the green part, it means contributions to lasting peace. What does that mean? Contribution. I mean, is the is the parts, or is the effect, or is the contribution, yeah, that this conference or meeting, yeah, that they had, yeah, that it was like the output of this situation, that or it helped, or it worked in a way that helped to keep peace, among the countries, or if it was, the color red, right, it was a kind of a weaknesses. Okay, it was not helping actually, but it was like a problem for the idea of the meeting. Okay, are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay, so just pay attention to the description, and again, if you have any questions, just ask me, okay, on the chat below, or like whichever way do you prefer. Okay, so let's go on. And so let's see what was the contributions and the weaknesses of this conference in 1921. Okay, let me wait a minute, let me clean a little bit this screen here. Okay, so let's go, follow me. The contribution was that this showed that some countries were keen on disarmament. Wow. So keen means they were willing to, they wanted, yeah, oh, let's do that, we are happy to do that. This is the meaning of keen, right? And disarmament means get out of of guns, right? disarmament, I don't think that I'm sure about that actually, right? That disarmament is the same thing as like when if you have a gun, so from a certain point on you're not going to be able to use guns anymore. So this is the meaning of disarmament. All right, so no problem for you guys. So moving on and continuing. Okay, so and the weaknesses of that, yeah, the bad side of that is that afterwards nobody wanted to reduce arms further, and Japan's navy was the dominant power in the Pacific. Don't forget that at that time, yeah, Japan was very powerful. Right now, if you know the rules of Japan, we know that they cannot really, what can I say? They cannot have like an army, right? They can't because they have lost the war and they had to sign some agreements, yeah, when they fought in the Second World War. So there is something that we have to check about this part, okay? But let's go on. Okay, so moving on our topic, right? So this is basically what we could see. I mean, we could see about these two parts of the Washington Conference. Okay, so the good part again, they showed that some countries they were really, I mean, willing to how can I say diminish, yeah, to reduce their guns and protection, but afterwards, I mean, okay, they wanted to do that, but in the end, yeah, when we saw the result, I mean, basically they started reducing, but they stopped in certain point, and in the end, Japan's navy was like the dominant power of in the Pacific, which means Japan really they didn't stop using, I mean, guns. Okay, so this is this part here. Let's go to the second part, which is Geneva Protocol in 1924. Okay, so let's go. And we have tries to make countries use the league to sort out disputes. Okay, so number I think that's very important. Yeah, do you know what is that? Sort out. Do you understand what's the meaning of this word? Sort out disputes. Don't forget that when we say sort out disputes, the idea of that is like to solve problem. Yeah, dispute is like a kind of a fight, yeah, between two or three countries, and then if they wanted to use the league to sort out that, it means like to find a way to solve that problem, I mean, in a very peaceful way, peacefully. This is the meaning of sort out. You resolve, you try to solve the problem, all right? So, coming back, and so let's see the contributions and the weaknesses. So the contribution of that, yeah, the first part here is this seemed to be strengthening the League of Nations. It seemed to be strengthening. Remember that strengthening, okay, it's the word strength, yeah, strength, but using ing, okay, so strengthening, yeah, was making the country more stronger. This is the idea of strengthening, okay? So if the League of Nations, let me see here, yeah, if the League of Nations, if it was getting stronger, that's the same as it was strengthening, okay? So just to have an idea, so it was getting stronger, I mean the idea is like it was getting better, yeah, like more power, more ability to self-defend, yeah, like to defend itself and that kind of stuff, okay? For self-defense actually, yeah, not self-defend but self-defense, okay? So moving on, and after that, let me see the red part, right? The bad side of that, which is here. And Britain refused to sign it after a change in government. Okay, so as we always, yeah, as in every situation, we have the one that goes against the idea that everybody is trying to do, right? So, of course, Britain refused to sign in. I mean, which means that Britain didn't want to be part of the Geneva Protocol. Okay, Geneva Protocol. So I think that's very clear, right? Not so complicated to understand. So let's move to the third one, which is Donway's plan in 1924. So follow me. And USA planned to lend money to Germany and spread out repayments. Lend money means that you're gonna give money to someone, and then you're gonna wait. Yeah, you're gonna give a deadline to that person pays you back, and spread out repayments. Spread out repayments means like you're gonna because you give money to someone and someone has to pay you back, so you spread it out. I mean, you make it like more reachable. Yeah, like you reach further places. I mean, using easy English, if you spread out repayments, means that you make more people um, for some reason, like because you gave money to them, or because you, I don't know, you have threatened them, whatever reason, you make more people. Uh, what is the good word for that? You make more people, yeah. You put more people in a situation, in a position that they have to pay you back, yeah. So that's the meaning of spread. I mean, spread out repayments. Okay, if I spread out repayments means more people will have to pay me back, because maybe because they got money from me, or because of whatever reason. Okay, do you get that? Do you understand that? Anyway, let's go on. And so let's read what we have here, right? So let's see the good sides, and the good sides, the good side and the bad side, and of course, let's check out that. So here, oh, actually, I don't know, I don't want to read now, because as you can see here, yeah, the two, I mean, belongs to this two here. So let's read that. I mean, let's go directly to the Young Plan. Okay, so Young Plan 1929 reduces German reparations by 75% and gives it 59 years to pay. Wow, they gave like a deadline for that, 59 years to pay it back. And reduces German reparations by 75%. So do you understand that sentence? Follow me. When this Young Plan in 1929, maybe it was a, I don't know, maybe it was like a conference, whatever, right? So if they decided to reduce German reparations, which means that before, for example, German, you're gonna have to repair. I mean, to pay back all the destruction that you have caused, 100%. Everything that you have destroyed, you're gonna have to pay back to rebuild it. You know, you're gonna have to do all the work by yourself. But here in 1929, they have reduced that percentage of payment back, yeah, reparation, that they would have to do. Okay, so now they don't need to rebuild or to repay everything, but only 75%, you know. So if you pay 75%, it's okay, we accept that. We're gonna take it as, I mean, as finished. Okay, so was a good news, right, for Germany. Oh, we are not gonna have to pay that amount of money. We are not gonna have to do that amount of work, right? They got like some percentage down, right? So let's move on. Let's see that. And then they had, of course, 59 years to do that. So, what is the information that we have here? The good side, these would help Germany to recover, increasing trade and cooperation. I mean, they had more time, they had less to pay, so of course, yeah, they would recover faster. And the weaknesses of that is that the benefits of the Dole's and Young plans were wiped out by the Depression, which was soon to affect everybody. Depression. I don't want to talk about this today, okay? But this is something very, 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 very important, okay? Depression was a kind of economic crisis that happened, yeah, like in the past. And then I want you, yeah, Anna and Marcella, if you have time, check it out that, okay? And of course, everybody else, yeah, who uh, who is here with me, yeah, check it out that, you know, like what was the depression that happened, okay? And remember, depression is connected to economical problems, economical crisis, okay? So make some research about that, read about that, and then send me a voice message, okay? Explain what was depression. Can you do that for me, please? Okay, I'm gonna be very happy if you do that. So moving on, let's get back to the study. And then going down here, we have this last part, as we say, right? Okay, so this second subheading here, right? We have this second subheading, which is including the Locarno Treaties and the Kellogg-Briand Pact. Wow, we have good names here. Locarno Treaties and the Kellogg-Briand Pact. So what was that, right? So let's read. Locarno Treaties in 1925. So Germany's western borders set at Versailles should be permanent. I mean, so the border that was settled there should be forever. That was the idea. And then we have one, two, three, four. We have four topics about that here. So let's read. Number one. This suggested that Germany was at last prepared to accept the Treaty of Versailles. I mean, at last, that finally, right? Finally, they were like willing. Okay, maybe we have thought about it. Then I think I'm gonna accept that, right? Because if you remember, I believe that before they didn't really agree with I mean, the rules that were being applied right to them. So, but here something happened, right? In what was the year 1925? So maybe they were more, yeah, um, yeah, they had more feelings, good feelings, yeah, like good will to accept that. So that's something really interesting. And let's see the next part. And then number two, the treaties were proposed by the German foreign minister. Wow, that's good. Gustav Stresemann and signed it voluntarily. So it was made voluntarily. It was a volunteer work. So I mean, no one forced him to do that. And Germans seemed to be moving on from feelings of resentment and could be treated more like an equal. So this was a significant step towards peace. Absolutely, absolutely. That's something very cool. I mean, for the first time, right? We have here the information that the prime minister, yeah, he made something by itself. Yeah, he signed it like he not that he signed it. Yeah, actually he signed it. Actually, okay. The treaties were proposed by the treaties. Oh no, he of course he signed it as well because to for a document to start. I mean to start being valid, right? To start work, you have to sign that, yeah, to make it valid. Okay, and then it seems here that the German foreign minister he had some of the ideas of the treaty. He proposed the treaty. That he made the propose. Okay, and I mean, it seems that everything worked out, right? So, but we have a little extra information about this the prime minister Stresemann. So let's check it out. That on in this part here, guys, in the purple part, Stresemann wanted Europe to trust Germany again. So by pointing out that Germany played an active role in creating the Locarno treaties, Stresemann could show that Germany wanted to create a lasting peace. However, some were still suspicious that the Locarno treaties didn't cover Germany's eastern borders. I mean, this topic of Eastern and Western, right? Okay, this remember that. I mean, Germany. How can I put that? Okay, the real, yeah, like the most popular division that we know, right? It happened, I guess, after Second World War. But even at that time, yeah, we have two sides. We have like the side of Germany that goes more to like to the American side, right? The Italy, Portugal, Britain, and we have the other side which goes more like for Ukraine or Russia, right? And when we talk about these countries, we know that they have very, very difficult, different ways to see the world, right? They have very different ways. I mean, totally actually different, right? Vision of how words should be. I mean, should be managed. That's I think that's a good word for that, right? So that's the point here, okay? And but I mean, this is the information. So let's continue here. Let's see if we can understand more. And getting back on here, then we go to number 3. The Locarno Treaties also allowed Germany to join the League of Nations in 1926. Amazing. They get back to the league. And number 4, however, nothing was said about Germany's eastern borders, which worried Czechoslovakia and Poland. Of course, I mean, again, remember, I said that Germany is divided, like if you divide Germany in the middle, one side goes more for Russia, Ukraine, as we have seen now here, Czechoslovakia, Poland, yeah. And the other side goes more for Italy, like Portugal, Spain, Britain. So, I mean, if the treat, this is very strange actually, yeah, like if they sign this kind of a treaty, yeah, like this proposal, and it doesn't cover the entire country, That would be a little bit strange, right? So that's why here we could see that, as nothing was said about that other side, right, of the Czechoslovak, of the Russian side, let's put like that, okay? So they were a little bit worried, but I think it's very strange, as once you, you make a proposal, I think that should cover everything, right? Especially because both sides, although they are different, they are still Germany. So did you get that? If you need, read that thing, okay? Pay attention on the words. Really try to understand what he meant by that here, okay? So let's move on. And then on the Kellogg-Briand Pact in 1928. Okay, so let's read that last part here. So 65 nations, this one here, agree not to use aggression to settle arguments. Of course, no more war, but something more, what is a good word for that? Peaceful, right? So number one of the weaknesses of this pact was that it didn't define what aggression actually meant. So countries could claim that they were guilty of it. And also, no one knew what would happen if a country broke the Kellogg-Briand Pact. I mean, like what is aggression? Even though I think for us, yeah, especially for us Brazilian, and we have we understand aggression in two different ways, right? Aggression physically, yeah, physical aggression, and psychological aggression. I think this is the two ways that we can, I mean, um, practice aggression against someone, right? You can hurt someone. So, but here, when we are talking about like nations, right? So maybe they have something different from that. But anyway, but as we could read here, even then they didn't know exactly what was the meaning of that, right? But of course, I in overall it meant no war, right? And number two, however, it was still one of the most significant steps of the entire decade towards a lasting peace. Significant steps, it meant that it was very important, okay? And it was like a huge move on, yeah, a huge step. And it showed that countries were truly committed. Truly, this is a very good word, and then I want you guys to know that and to don't forget to use. Truly means verdadeiramente, yeah, truly committed, verdadeiramente, né? Comprometidos, right? To the idea of preventing future wars. Okay, so and then when we say preventing future wars, I mean they would do everything possible to not have further wars. Okay, because war is never good to any side. Okay, so and then we have number three, which is the last part here. And the USA signed it too, despite the isolationism that had kept them out of the League of Nations. Because remember, right? The isolation, when we say that isolationism, which means that USA, it was, yeah, they were involved in the war, but I mean, it didn't really make part of the League of Nations. That's crazy things, yeah, the way that happened. But even though yeah, they were a little bit separated, they signed the document, right? So it means that, even though of course they still had problems, some countries didn't really agree with everything, but it seemed here by the information that we got today that some peaceful moments were getting closer, right? So, but of course, as we know history, yeah, we now we know that, the future wouldn't be really, good, right? But so we have some extra information here, which is comment and analysis. So just follow me. And the spirit of the League of Nations was strengthened, yeah, made stronger by these treaties, by this law. Remember that treaties são tratados, right? Especially when Germany joined it. However, you could also argue that countries began to make agreements separate from the League because they didn't trust it to be effective. Okay, so that's a very good information, and I think you remember, right? Do you remember one of the reasons that some countries they didn't trust in the treaties that were proposed by the League of Nations, or the rules that were supposed, to be, how can I say that, to be, let me find a good word for that, to be supervised, I think that's a good word, yeah, by the League of Nations. One reason, and I think that's a very good reason, was that, I mean, the League of Nations in the beginning, I don't know if it changed later, but in the beginning, it had a lot of countries, yeah, all together working on to find peace, but they didn't have really some an official army, defense, military defense. They didn't have, yeah, they would be only counting on what is the volunteer work from all the countries that they would send, yeah, their own arm to protect. So as they didn't have an official self-defense, yeah, so of course, I mean, one way to trusting someone or something normally is that you know that that thing or that person can protect you, right? This is why we trust you. I mean, you can rely on it. You know that that person can protect you and can defend, yeah, you if necessary. This is a very good reason for we have trust on something, right? So that's the point here. Okay, guys. So did you get up to here? I think it not so complicated, right? So now we're gonna move on, yeah, to the next part, which is the homework part. Okay, so just follow me. Okay, and moving on, right? So this is the homework, and just follow me. Let's read that and let's see what we can learn from here. Okay, let me use my pen here. So some treaties were made without the league's involvement actually, and I mean we know that because we have read that. So these activities will help you learn the details that some treaties were made with the involvement of the league, and some others, I mean, were made without the involvement of the league. So let's see what is the difference between these two different, and then let's understand that. Like, what happened? Okay, so let's go. Knowledge and understand. Number one, copy and complete the table below about the international agreements made in the 1920s. So try to include as much detail as possible. So here we have the descriptions of all the treaties, yeah, the agreements that we have read: Washington, Geneva, Dawes, Locarno, Kellogg, Bryan, Young Plan, okay? And then we have these topics: what was agreed, the strengths and the weaknesses. Strengths, weaknesses. Okay, so how do you answer that? How do you know how to answer that? You go back in the previous page, check it out. We have a list of that. Yeah, we have a list with all the informations that we have here. So read that carefully and write what was agreed, the strengths, the strengths. Sorry, right? The strengths and the weaknesses. Okay, and then of course you write on the space. Okay, so this is something that I want you to do. And then let me go back here and moving on. After that, yeah, we have number two. Explain why this one here. Explain why Gustav Stresemann, remember the prime minister, wanted the Locarno treaties to be signed. Why he wanted that? Why? Remember that he not only wanted that, but if we remember the study, he proposed that idea, right? He was, I think, maybe he was even the writer of the idea. So why? There was a reason behind that. So what was that reason? So answer that for me. And then on source analysis, that's good. That's cool. That's cool. So let's check it out that. Okay, and then we see the questions as well. Source analysis. So what is source analysis? I think you student have already get how to work with that, right? So source analysis means we're gonna have a source, some information, some letter written at that time, something that comes from that time. Okay, and then we're gonna analyze that, and by this analysis, we're gonna answer the questions below. So basically, this is source analysis. So let's see. The source below is an American cartoon from 1928 about the Kellogg-Briand Pact. The cartoon shows a married couple, the words and peace, walking away from the Paris Conference, where the Kellogg-Briand Pact was signed. Peace is holding a scroll labeled Kellogg Treatise. Amazing, right? So when we say this is scroll, this is the thing, right? This is This is the scroll label, right? And of course, if we read, we can see Kellogg treatise. So number one, let's see here. Explain how each of the details in the blue boxes below, which is this and this, and suggest that the Kellogg-Briand Pact is unlikely to succeed. Succeed, actually, unlikely to succeed. So pay attention on me, okay? So let's analyze that thing here. Number one, do you know what is when something is unlikely to succeed? This word unlikely, or the opposite of that, likely, it is different from like. When something is unlikely to happen means that the percentage is really low. Probably it's not gonna happen. And also you can use in the same way in the opposite. Okay, it's very likely to happen. I mean, the percentage of that really happening is like really high. Really. So unlikely means the percentage of that situation or thing becoming a reality is really low. This is unlikely. Okay, so we have to explain why. Yeah, that's what we have to do in this one here. Explain why this pact, this treaty was probably going to fail. And let's see what the information we have here. So the marriage couple have left a trail of papers like this, like this, like this, like this. Yeah, they left informations behind. Then listing their past divorces. The most recent one says divorced in 1924. So the that's very good. So did you understand that? I'm gonna read that again. The marriage couple have left a trail of papers behind, then listed their past divorces. The most recent one says divorced in 1921. So this is a sarcasm, yeah, sarcasm. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's like like it's ironic, yeah, it's a controversial way to say. So what is the meaning of that cartoon? Which means that okay, they have signed this treaty again, yeah, after many repeating situations, and the point is like that many times in the past they signed it and they divorced it. They signed it, so which means they have already made other treaties, but it didn't work, and then they had made new ones and didn't work. So so that's the meaning of that papers behind, as we can see in the cartoon. Okay, so and B, the second information is the word is wearing a tag. The word, right? This one here, saying these wicked words. Do you know what is this wicked word? Do you understand this word wicked? No, yes. So wicked means bad. Yeah, like this wicked word, this bad word, malvado. Yeah, as we say in Portuguese. Okay, so that's the meaning, the wicked word. So, and did you pay attention? Like as I read before, right? Here is the word, which is this little ball here. Yeah, and let me get closer, just to you guys check it out. There, yeah, the word marriage with the piece, right? I think that's what we have right here. Yeah, yeah, the words in the piece. So this girl with wings, I mean, represents the piece, and this little thing here, this guy here, represents the word, right? And then, I mean, the word is wearing a tag saying tag is that tag here, right? Can you see that? The wicked words, like it's not really good quality, but I think it's possible to understand, right? So I mean, it means here that for many times they had gotten married and divorced. So this is their relationship. Anyway, so of course it's a cartoon, and normally when we do a cartoon, yeah, like we try to pass, we try to give some information to the reader, yeah, or to the person who is reading that. So after analyzing like the enunciation, analyzing the picture, and analyzing the two blue words, right? The two blue words, the two blue informations, actual information that we have here. I'm gonna read just one more thing for you before we go to the questions. And if you see here, there is this sign here, forever and ever and ever. Like it's like happy forever, right? So let's see. And then we have the question two. Explain how useful this source is for studying the Kellogg-Briand Pact. Yeah, is this useful? Do you think this is something that I mean, if you were studying, if you were making making a research about that time, I think it would help you. In what way? And describe for me, like, with this information, does it give, by reading that, is it is it possible to make it easier for you to understand what was really happening, the reality of that situation, like if the treaties they were working or not? Do you think this kind of information helps you? Yes or no? Let me know why. Okay. And just one last thing here, and then here we have this last thing down below here. This isn't the same Kellogg who makes the tasty cereals, of course, right? Of course, because that's a good one. That's a good one, yeah. Because Kellogg is also the name of the cereal, right? You know, cereal mixed with milk, and it's very delicious, right? It's not the same person, okay? So, and you need to get to grips with the names, dates, and terms of a treaty. Giving relevant and accurate details will show the examiner that you have a good understanding of the topic. I think this is very obvious, right? Everybody who is a student knows that. What do you have to know? That dates, name of the treaties, name of the situations, when it did happen, right? These are very important informations that in every exam that you're gonna go, yeah, that you're gonna do, it's gonna it's gonna be asked, and it also shows that you really know what you're talking about because you know the name and you know when it happened and you know the reason of that. So this is what I expect from you students, okay? Don't only read, but really try to get into that deep and really understand what was happening, in what context that happened, and what was the year, yeah, that happened. But you know why I have to know the year? It's just because I have this information just to show that I know. No, not only, but if you analyze the year that it happened, so maybe you can understand how the word has been changing through the years. Yeah, like what people were thinking at that time, and now we have the same values or not. I mean, did we learn by the war, by the treaties that we had in the past? Do you think the world is much better now than in the past? What do you think? So this is why it's very important to you to really pay attention to what you're reading, understand the topic, understand, like put yourself in the context. I mean, in the year, in the, how can I say that, in the environment, right? Imagine you like in Germany and during a war. Yeah, do you think you would have done the same thing? Would you have tried to solve the problems like by doing a treaty, yeah, like, or by trying to make, yeah, to build, yeah, as we say, this League of Nations? So what do you think about that? Give me your opinion. Okay, so this is the homework, right? So do your best, write on your notebook, and of course you can write on your book as well. Okay, thanks hours for being here and for your, I mean, your good work. Keep like that, yeah. Try to be, I mean, day by day even better, right? And of course, see you next time. Big hug and bye bye, guys.